I'm Martha Patterson, and I am one of your NEA Board Directors for the state of Washington. Each state that has an NEA affiliate gets a certain number of NEA directors dependent upon their NEA membership. Washington State has got 5 directors, including one at-large director who was elected at the RA. She's an ESP at-large, Valerie Fisher. And I serve alongside with Shannon McCann from Federal Way, Miguel Saldana from Pasco, Jeb Binns from Burien, and Estefan Gallardo from Seattle. And this is my 4th year. I'm the Senior NEA Board Director. I had the privilege of serving alongside Chris for a year. It was actually absolutely delightful. And I just feel incredibly honored and privileged to do this work. I grew up in a political family, and I feel I'm where I need to be doing it. And just thank you for having me here. But last night was just a blast. And I'd spent Friday and Saturday at the WA board meeting, and as soon as that was done, husband and I drove over here, and it just was a really lovely way to spend Saturday night. So thank you for having me. So let me tell you a little bit about what the NEA board does. I'm still a full-time educator. I teach special ed, resource room in Silverdale, the Central Kitsap School District. And 3 times a year, I go back to Washington, D.C. to lobby our legislators, all of our Washington State legislators, and to participate in the NEA board meeting where we make decisions about the business of the association. The last NEA board meeting was in late September, and on our lobby day, we went up to the Hill. We were able to see all but one of our legislators. Your Congressperson, Kim Schreier, is just absolutely amazing. She goes out of her way to see us when we are there. Sometimes we have lobbied her in the Rayburn room, and she would run back and forth between the votes. Another time it was taking a break during a conference meeting, but very lucky to have her. She very well represents the 8th district. This past lobby day, we lobbied our legislators on repealing the excise tax on high-cost healthcare plans. It's already passed the House. Expanding background checks for gun purchases, and that has also already passed the House. Stopping Trump's diversion of military school funds for a border wall, and ending the inhumane treatment of immigrant families and children. On past trips, we have actually more than once lobbied our legislators on SNAP benefits. At one point, they were going to be severely reduced, or families were going to need to provide proof that they had looked for work within 6 months. And many of our classified employees do receive SNAP benefits. Many of our children, our students, receive SNAP benefits, and so we did lobby on that. We lobby on federal impact aid. I live near the Bangor subbase. Probably 40% of the students in my district are either children of the members of the military or people that work for the federal government. Reducing that would be devastating to our communities. We're always lobbying on education funding. Last spring, we lobbied on the infrastructure. Patty Murray introduced a bill that would make school improvements, especially in technology, because a lot of our schools do not have the technology needed to take our students into the 21st century. On this past trip, there was a break in our lobby appointments, and I went to hearing. I was able to hear Representative John Lewis speak. He was leading a committee meeting on how gun violence impacts communities. And I was feeling so excited about that. And then I caught up with the rest of the team later, and they said, "Oh, we got a picture with him. He was just standing out in front of the Longworth building, so they got a picture of him." But it was pretty exciting. At our board meeting, people ask, "Well, what does NEA do for me back in my local, in Wenatchee or in Orondo or in Quincy?" But we approved the strategic framework for 2020 through 2022, and they include increasing educator voice, influence and professional authority, recruiting and engaging new and early career educators, advancing racial and social justice, supporting professional excellence, securing a pro-public education environment, and enhancing our organizational capacity. Just like here in Washington State, we are experiencing loss in membership. NEA is experiencing a drop in membership by 23,000 members. So organizing does continue to be a priority across the country because we know members bring funds, and funds help us be a stronger, more productive, more powerful union. So, Scott's presentation was very timely. We definitely do keep building the membership because there's so many benefits that being a member of WA and NEA provide. We have many of our leaders within NEA, your Washington delegation, are leaders within NEA. Shannon McCann is the leader of Legislative Committee. Valerie Fisher leads the Human and Civil Rights Committee, and I am the leader of the Education Voice and Authority Committee. And what we're working on there is to get the exciting things that are happening in locals, to spread the word about it, how you can be empowered. Just in the past 6 months, I became familiar with bargaining for the common good. Have any of you ever heard of that? Okay, write that down. Bargaining for the common good. It's a booklet, it's a curriculum, and all kinds of associations, not just education associations, were able to bargain things that impact our students, impact our members, but are not compensation. An example was one local in the San Diego area was able to bargain with the district that the district would not do business with a bank that foreclosed on homes that had school-aged children during the school year. And just this past week, I had 2 students be evicted. That impacts our students, okay? That's not a compensation thing for educators, but it does impact our students. Some locals have been able to bargain that a district will provide public bus passes for students, and that's an environmental impact. There is a whole training and a curriculum. I encourage you to find out more about it. You can look on the NEA website. There is a booklet available. That would be a really good organizing tool. We also, as a board, participated in understanding white supremacism. It is a priority of both our national and our state association. The board acknowledged we do need to get uncomfortable to move forward in these conversations. It's not going to be an easy path. It's not an easy path, but it is something that needs to happen. When I go back to DC, it really helps when I have information from members. I do have some business cards here. My email address is mpatterson@washingtonea.org. This past trip, we were asked to bring stories to our legislators about the impact of room clears on our students and on our members, the impact of active shooter drills. And I out and out said to one of my administrators, when we're doing these active shooter drills, we are creating a traumatic event for kids who are already bringing a lot of trauma to school. And our legislators need to hear those stories. So please do contact me by phone or email because I would love to share that with you. The last thing I want to share with you is the NEA website, particularly Education Votes. As Adam said, we are heading into a doozy of a year for an election. Now, right now, NEA is not promoting any specific candidate, but they are promoting, we need a candidate who promotes our agenda. And our agenda is strong public schools. And I know Adam attended the RA this past summer. Did anyone else attend the RA? Okay. There was a fabulous presidential candidate forum. I think there were about 10 or 11 candidates that actually came. All of them were invited, but of course we couldn't have all 25 of them from both parties. And they each had 10 minutes for questions from members, moderated by President Lily Escalson Garcia. It was fabulous, far better than any debate I've seen. They were polite because there were educators running the show, and we know educators know how to manage, behavior. And it really was an incredible event. So if you were not able to see it, it was on CNN. But if you see on this link here, and this is educationvotes.nea.org, this link right here, you can actually watch the forum, and it looks like they've edited it just for the candidates that were there that are still in the race. Right now, President Escalson Garcia is interviewing all candidates that wish to be considered for the NEA endorsement. And as they're completed, the videos will be here online. Again, all candidates have been invited. We're not pushing any particular candidate right now. We've not made an endorsement, and we're not about political party. We're about a candidate that supports strong public schools. And I do hope you share this at your rep councils, because there's a lot of fabulous information here. You can click on the issues and actions, and it tells you all the different things. Legislative report card, how are your members of Congress doing? Letters to Congress, bills that are already in place, our allies, different people that have supported NEA, have gotten NEA endorsements in the past. And then you can check just on your state what's going on there. Also, run for office. There is a program called See Educators Run. Did you do that when you ran? Okay. And it's done twice a year, different parts of the country, and it's put on by NEA, and the purpose is to educate educators or friends of education who would like to run for office, whether it's school board or state senator or something even bigger. This year, we've got quite a few educators running for office in our state. I believe there are like 4 or 5 educators running for school board down in the Vancouver Evergreen area. And if that's something that interests you, take a look at the site, because they will tell you when the next training is. I think there was one within the past month in San Diego, and that happens twice a year. NEA pays they'll fly you there, they'll put you up in a hotel. So if that's something that interests you, or if you know someone that you think would benefit from it, let them know about it. Also, this link here, the 2020 presidential election, gives information about each candidate, and you can compare the candidates, have their support, their beliefs on education, and take action. All right? You can actually post a video of yourself asking a question of some or all of the candidates. Educator voice out there. And then here are Mr. Stories. Right? The president who's with us, and NEA members, there are videos about why we need a president who does support public education. So there's all kinds of things in there, and I hope you check it out. I hope you can share it with your members, because obviously they will probably start asking questions about the presidential race as well. NEA will make an endorsement at some point, but I couldn't tell you when right now. Right now we're just talking about making sure the candidates know what we want in a candidate. In fact, I've heard a couple of candidates in different debates say things that come right out of kind of the NEA playbook, a strong public school for every child, no matter what the zip code. So please do encourage your members to look at this. And it's really vitally involved that educators be involved in elections, from school board all the way up to president. Educators are the most trusted members of communities. They look to us. If they ask you who would you support for this office, they will most likely listen, because we are highly regarded. I am open to take any questions right now. Again, thank you for having me. As an NEA board director, we're really making an effort, all the directors from Washington, to get to each council at least once a year. So I really appreciate the invite, and on a weekend is great because I didn't have to make sun plans. But I'm open to any questions right now if you have any. Okay, thank you for having me. It's been lovely.